Hey YouTube, I'm Jamie, welcome back to my channel Champify. I practiced a lot of basics again the past 2 weeks and I had one little design that I practiced. The design was totally free-handed, didn't have any example in front of me. This was just coming up on the spot and pulling the lines and see where I get from there. I filmed that session, so I will show it to you right now. Just one more quick thing. In this video I'm trying something different. I will talk about my practice sheets and then I will switch to talking about the design a little bit. Then I will do a practice sheet again and then a design a little bit all the way to the end. Maybe I'll throw in some music. So that's it. Enjoy the video and thanks for watching. As you can see, I started off by drawing a grid on a blank paper. The grid has a size of 2.5 by 2.5 centimeters and is just for reference points. The first element I drew was a teardrop. It's a very basic stroke in pinstriping. You will see it in a lot of pinstripe designs. So it's the way to go for me right now because I have no experience in design freehand whatsoever. And while you see me working on my design on the left side, I'm going to show you my practice sheets of the past 2 weeks on the right side. The first one I did were some basic C-curves, the left and the right version of them. First time I did those practice and it was very tricky to get my fingers and my hands in the correct positions. So I will definitely need to practice a lot more of those. After a couple days I practiced again some C-curves, but this time I did the bottom and the top version of those. Those were even trickier than the left and the right ones, but I don't know why. I think it's just an awkward position to get in for the first time. On the positive side, the last curves I drew on that paper were already a lot better than the first curves I drew, so yeah. This is the point where I'm thinking what I'm going to do, and I actually wanted to stop at a small line, but I was slightly above the point, so I decided to pull it further. And here is where I started to get some misalignments in my symmetry. The misalignments are very small at this point, but they will only grow bigger during the whole design. And now I'm gonna switch over to a practice sheet again. Next thing I did were some S-curves, and those were even harder than the C-curves because you have to switch directions a lot and you have to keep everything in mind, your line thickness, your spacing between the lines. Same day I did 2 papers, and on the same paper I did also some S-curves, but they were not as curved as the first one, and they went a little better, I think, already. Still need a lot of practice, but slow but steady progress will get me there. While I was talking over my second sheet, I advanced a bit more on my design. I'm losing a lot of brush hairs these days. I don't know what the reason is of that. It's still my first brush, but I think that my skills to clean and store the brush aren't that good at this point. People told me already if I don't clean the ferrule enough, the hairs can break easily there. The ferrule is the little zone on the brush where the wood and the hairs are connected with a little strap. For now I will put on some music, and later in the video I will talk about my last practice sheet. And then we arrived at the last paper I did practice last week, which were straights. Also tried to improve on my cornering. Those were very tricky because you have to stop blind, at least at one side. Only place on the paper where that isn't the case is at the left bottom. There I have to start my horizontal and my verticals on the diagonal line. So that corner or those corners are pretty good in comparison to the other ones. Meanwhile, I'm almost finished with my design. I started off very good with good line symmetry and line thickness, but with every line I pulled, it's getting harder and harder to create the same lines on both sides. The reason for that is because the spaces to put my pinkies in are getting smaller and smaller. And although I showed you already all my practice sheets, here they are again. If you're still watching right now, thank you, I appreciate it very much. If you liked this video, you can hit the like button, and if you like my content, you can subscribe to my channel if you want. I'm also posting regularly on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me there with the same name as here on YouTube. That was all for now. I'm going back to practice and I'll catch you in the next update.